Important Podcast.
I heard Sage was good for...
But what does Palo Santo do for me, Quentin? What's the spirit I'm supposed to be feeling from this Palo Santo?
I'm trying to cleanse my life of you. And it's not where I gotta burn more. Gotta burn a lot more.
I happen to be a toxin, maybe a germ.
A demon.
But a cute one.
Anyway, go ahead. Well, tell people
Welcome
what
back,
this is.
folks, to another awesome, important episode of the We Important Podcast. Thank you, as always, for tuning in, wee-wees. We got
Harry, I think this is a super episode. What do you think?
I think it's a big pimpin' episode.
What do you think? What do you do to cleanse your spirit?
What I do to cleanse the spirit, if I'm thinking that things aren't going right and I'm not feeling good about things, and I'm fretting over little crap that I should never even be thinking, I think, is my daughter healthy? Are my friends healthy? Am I healthy? Was I able to get out of my bed this morning on my own and come out and be able to have the ability to smile that day? Because a lot of people don't have the ability to smile. And these are all just little gifts. I go, psst, get off it, man. You got no reason to be feeling this way at all. And that's what I do.
Wow.
Smile goes a long way.
That was great, actually. I like that.
That was awesome. You got to look and feel the same. It's all about good energy, good vibes, but a smile is infectious.
Absolutely. You got so much to be appreciative of. And if you just remember that.
That's exactly right.
Then you can get that stuff up off you.
Yeah. You give it the big...
You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of pimping going on here. Hey, why don't you look at the camera and tell everybody, who the hell are you? Who are you? What is your name? What do you go by in the streets? Who we got sitting here with us?
My name's Mike Toth. I'm Mike and Joan's little boy originally from Lorain, Ohio. And nothing special. Just same as everybody else, flesh and blood, and trying to get through this life the best that I can and meet nice people like these on a daily basis, and I'm fine. Now, one thing I'd like to clear up here in the beginning is super pimp. It has a lot of connotations to it. And a lot of people told me,
Dust off the shoulders real quick.
A lot of people have told me as I built this career or such, well, you got to change that name, man. I said that, there's going to be people that, I said, I can't do that. It wasn't given by me. It was given by the people who appreciate me. So who am I to? So what I did in the beginning, and I should post it more than what I do, is that pimp means to promote. And what I promote is the good life, good family, good friends, and good times.
Hey, man, if it ain't pimping, it ain't popping. You know what I'm saying? If two is available, one is not an option. That's called pimping. You know what I'm saying? Shit.
Oh, my God.
Pimp to promote. I love that.
Well, does that apply to two bad girlfriends at one time? You got one, you should. It's not enough.
I'm a faithful man. Stop playing. Play on my top. Hey. But I like that, though. That's a nice way to clean it up. It's not all about what people want to make it out to be. It doesn't have to have a negative connotation, this word pimp.
Right. And it was given to me, like I said, by the fans because I wear the suits.
That's it.
It's how... it's how I choose to dress. Everybody wears their own uniform to play the game.
Right. So
and nobody's uniform is better than anybody else's. It just fits who they are.
Yeah. So they just associated your style with what they think a pimp is. Yeah. And that's how the name Super Pimp came about.
That's right. So not to be mistaken with a regular pimp.
You know what I mean? But
Super Pimp. I can gloat a little bit. I work hard.
No,
I mean, you gotta play into it as part of the
But more than that, you're also our guessing the most important person in the world. If you don't mind, Mike SP, what makes you the most important person? What makes you important?
What makes me important is that I'm important to other people. I'm important to my daughter. That makes me important. I was important to my parents when they were alive, to my friends, to my fans, which and I still have trouble with that word, fans.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, but I don't know how else to describe it, but they're all very important to me. The people that take the time to make my life a little bit better. So, for me to be the best person I am, for them makes me important.
Wow. That was an awesome answer. That was a great answer. Way to stay humble, but you know you're the most important person. You've put in hours, you've put in decades of work to even be able to get the status you have, but I feel a lot of people can't trace back to where it all started. If you don't mind, Mike, where did the persona really start to take its form?
Okay, that's a good question. A lot of people ask this question. It was a matter of, I've always been an upbeat, positive person my entire life. Always had an optimistic look. It was very happy childhood. We didn't know we were poor. But you know, we were happy every day. We had clothes on our back. The rain wasn't hitting us. You know, so everything was good. But then, around 99 or 98, things really started to go south. Everything hit me at once. I lost 2 20-year friends early, from cancer, both of them from cancer. One was my play cousin and one was one of my very best friends. But you can't go to the store and buy 20-year friends. And they both died within a short period of time of each other. And, at that time, my baby's mama was being very stubborn about letting me see my daughter. And that just really killed me. And, so I just went for the first time in my life into a really deep depression. I was living in a trailer in Alliance, Ohio. And in the middle of the winter, the only time I could turn on the heat was when my daughter came for her 2-week visits, is when I would turn on the propane. The rest of the time, I'd be under blankets on a mattress on the floor. That's how bad the depression was. And then one day, when my daughter came for her regular weekend visit, she was about 4 years old. I could see that difference of the look in her eye when she looked at me. It was different in the way she was looking at me. Who is this person? It's not like a toddler or something, where they're not really thinking about it. I could see that she was sizing me up. I said to myself when she left, I said, what kind of dad am I sitting around here wallowing all this stuff when I should be standing up and being the best father that I could be? That's when I decided that day, and I was laying on the cold floor in the trailer, and all I had was a radio, didn't even have a TV, and the Howard Stern show came on, and one of the advertisements was for Progressive Insurance. And I didn't have a resume because I worked for myself. I had 4 bald tires on my car, and the interviews were in Willoughby. And I was living in Alliance, which was like an hour and 45 minutes away. I said, nothing's going to stop me. I'm going to get there. So I got the job, and it started to propel me back. So once I got back, then I started going to the clubs again. But I came back to being the original me. But after that period of depression, it brought me back on steroids. It brought me from my usual positive self to a new positive self, a super, so to speak, positive of myself. And then I just started going out and being me, and people would come up and say, can I take my picture with you? So you take a picture with me? Yeah. So that was happening all the time, and people would come up and asking me about things. And then, as I was telling you earlier, that all of a sudden I was at work, and somebody said to me, you have a MySpace and it has 400 friends on it? I said, what's MySpace? I had no idea about social media. And so I didn't even know how to look it up. So I went with a friend and pulled it up for me, and there it was. And what it was some people who just really appreciated who I was started this website for me, and they maintained it like it was my own. Like I was the one who was doing it. But I didn't know for 3.5 years who who was behind it. I couldn't add to it because it wasn't mine. It wasn't mine at all. And it just kept growing and growing. And, that's how it kind of started to snowball from there. That's kind of in a nutshell of how that happened.
Do you remember the song they would play when they would open the page?
Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. No.
Really?
Dum, dum, dum.
No love. Oh my God. That's fire. That is so crazy.
But to this day forward, when they play the Saturday Night Live replays from when Will Ferrell and they would go in the clubs together.
Oh, it's that.
They always play that song, and I go, yeah, that's the deal there.
The theme song. Wow. So Super Pimp was made for the people, by the people. So did you ever meet the couple? You said it was a couple that made the MySpace?
Yes.
Did you ever meet them?
Yes, I did. That finally came to light. And I meant to ask them, and I never did, of why they never told me that they were doing it.
How would they tell you? They didn't have.
Well, they knew me. They saw me all the time.
Oh,
I mean, they've got my website up, so to speak. They could put it on the website. Hey, I'm so and so, because I looked at it every day to see what they were posting, and in the pictures that people were taking, they would post them and keep it up like you would do it if it was your regular.
Yeah, if it was theirs.
Was it anger towards those people of like, hey, you're kind of stealing my persona and maybe not portraying?
Not at all. It was just, I'm trying to figure out why at this point. What is it? I just didn't know what it was. Why would somebody do that?
Did you ever feel like they were like poking fun at you?
No. But along those lines, how I know that I've kind of made it is I have 5% haters.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yes.
It's yin and yang.
I have vehement haters in that 5%.
What are people hating on you for?
I think it's because some people are just not happy, and they can't stand for other people to be happy. They need to try to drag you down to be where they're at, so they feel better about their plight. That's why. Because I've always been a gentleman. I was raised as a gentleman. When I'm out, I don't hit on nobody else's girlfriend. I'm old school code when it comes to things like that.
Mm-hmm. Keep it OG.
I'm sorry?
You keep it OG, original.
That's exactly correct. So, it wasn't anything I was using my notoriety to try to hit on people. It was on people's girlfriends and stuff. And no, it was pretty rough the first year or two. I came out, the windshield of my car was smashed.
Whoa, they was really hating on you. And they was getting at you.
Oh yeah. And the first 2 years, I averaged about 6 fights a year.
You were getting in fights?
Yep. People would come up and challenge me in the clubs or get in my face. And
you out here whooping kids' asses?
In a suit, too. In a suit.
I said, you know what?
Yo, hold on.
Say that. I used to say, I would try to get around it. Try to make peace. So when they would come up to me and challenge me, start chesting me and stuff, and I said, they go, I don't like you. I says, well, you know what? There's some days I don't like me either. So I understand what you're saying. So it's disarmed. I never gave them that hate back to feed what they were feeling. And so then about the fights, I said, well, I really wouldn't want to have to fight her. I said, I'm a little behind on my dry cleaning bills.
You got to be a good shit talker. That comes with pimping.
But I'm from Lorraine. You can't take the Lorraine out of the boy.
For sure.
You don't back down.
You can say that again.
So they out here challenging you.
And I'm 6'3", 235, so I don't worry about it.
Yeah.
If you wanted to know,
give or take.
Take.
That's awesome.
So you got people just mad because you was getting attention. You were getting positive attention from people.
Right.
And they were jealous of it.
That's right.
And they came and would fuck with you for that?
Because, I've always been the same. I'm there to make you smile. I'm not there I never said anything bad about anybody. I said never tried to hit on their girlfriends. But their girlfriends would pay me attention, and I would have to walk away. And I would just turn and walk away. Thank you. I appreciate it. And that's
interesting, because I've seen you out in the club before. I don't know, like, I didn't know who you was. I've seen you before, though, right? Not knowing who you were, I was just like, oh, you were having the most fun out of everybody in the club. I'm sitting in the booth miserable. I'm in VIP with the homies. Like, I'm mad that I'm here. Like, I spilled 3 drinks on myself already. Like, nobody's talking to me. And then you look over and this dude's in the middle of the dance floor with a full suit on, touching the ground, busting the move and shit. I'm like, God damn, who is this? You know? So that's crazy. I could imagine, like, I could imagine somebody hating on you. Like, I had a terrible night. I could have easily been one of them people that was like, fuck you for having fun. Yeah, but I was more just like, damn, how do I get like that? You know? That's crazy.
I get that question a lot.
Yeah.
And it's usually a one-word answer.
What's that?
It's attitude.
Okay.
When you think about that for a minute, everything is attitude. How your life goes, how your day goes, is the attitude you choose to bring towards whatever comes your way. So my attitude is when I walk into someplace, my attitude is I'm going to have a good time, and I hopefully I'm going to bring a good time to the people around me. That's my attitude.
Perspective is everything for you. Because the one analogy I loved you use before off camera is, every day, everybody's normal, and everybody's going to have their bad days. It's part of the yin and yang balance, where there's good, there's bad. It's bound to happen. And as you're describing it, some days you feel like a dry sponge as you're going out, but it's this persona, it's this attitude you bring, and others feed off, and it rebounds right back to you.
Exactly. That's a good way of putting it. And it's almost selfish what I get back out of it. What it brings to me, bringing other people, taking the time to make other people happy.
How do you maintain that?
Again, it's attitude, and I then it gets to the point where I don't want to disappoint anybody. Which I can't go out and be down. I can't. Because people are relying on me a multitude of people will come up in the course of the night and say, I'm really glad you're here. Now I can smile. Now we're going to have a good time. And now I feel better. So it'd be terrible of me to come out with a crappy ass look on my face. And they're going, well, maybe there is no hope. If Super Pimp ain't smiling, then there's no hope for me.
That is a great point. If especially the person that's known around having the brightest attitude, wearing the classiest clothing, stands out among the crowd, doesn't have a smile on their face, how do I know I'm having a good time?
That's exactly correct. It's fun. It's funny about the haters and what we were talking about. That there was a guy, and in the beginning, and I would see him. He would go to the same club that I did in Menor. It was the hottest club around the early 2000s. It was called the Avenue. And this guy, every time I got near him, even if I would walk to a different part of the room, he might be standing beside me. I didn't notice him, or he was behind me or something. And he would just give me the dirtiest looks. He said, go stand someplace else. I said, I kind of like it right here. And I look at right in the eye, and he goes, he expected me to cringe and just walk away with my tail between my legs. So that went on for almost 2 years. It ended up that he asked me to be in his wedding.
Really?
After 2 years of hating on me.
What do you know what changed in him?
To this day, I don't really know. I think that maybe it was my perseverance not to give back the negative vibe to him that he was passing to me.
Or he got cold feet. He was like, take this woman up off me.
Yeah. Maybe it was a woman he met that thawed out his cold heart.
Yeah, that could be it. That's interesting. What I'm gathering is really like the whole lore of Super Pimp it started from just your sense of style. And people they recognized that, and then they gave you this moniker. They kind of built up this persona for you.
Correct.
So tell me, where do you get your sense of style from? Where did the suits and the rings, the hair, where does it come from?
Another good question. When I was my mom was full English, born and raised in England. She was a nurse during the Second War in England. My dad was a paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne, and they met over there. And so when I was about 7, we flew back to England for me to meet my grandmother for the first time, grandmother and grandfather. So we get on the plane, and that was the time. If you remember the movie Catch Me If You Can with
Leonardo,
right?
Yeah.
So it showed what the class that it used to be to ride on a plane. The stewardesses were all impeccable. They wore white gloves, and you had to be a certain way. It was very classy to be on an airplane. Mm-hmm. So we're at the airport, and at that time they didn't have the gates that came up. You walked out on the tarmac and up the stairs into the thing. So my mom bought me a full pilot uniform with a hat and the kind of jacket they wore and everything, and the little fake wings on there.
This is at 7 years old.
I was 7 years old. Okay. Yes, and my mom had that style. My dad, not so much, but my mom was stylish in her own way, and she. My dad would have never thought of, dressing me like that to go. So we're coming up the stairs, and I'm watching all these other families go on with their kids and everything. It was the normal polite, "Hi, how are you doing? Welcome aboard," and all this stuff. And I'm watching this going on as we're coming up the stairs, and people are filing on. So when I get up there, and all these stewardesses are gorgeous. So I come up to the top of the stairs, and all of a sudden the stewardesses go, "Oh, look at this guy!
So
look how cute you are!" Pinching my cheek and rubbing my face, and said, "Oh, come with us, come with us." And they took me up in the cockpit of the airplane and showed me around, and then when the plane took off, they had me sit on their lap, and so I'm 7 years old, and I'm sitting on a lap of this beautiful. And I feel a little something I ain't never felt before in my 7 years on this earth. I go, ooh wee! I don't know what this is, but there it is. So it was that way the whole flight. And I said. And they kept talking about the uniform and everything. Oh, I said, "There's got to be something about this suit." So, and if you think about it, I don't know how often you guys wear suits. Most people, unless they wear it for work, they don't wear suits a lot. But you're representing tonight. What are you trying to out-pimp me?
Man, no, I can never out-pimp the super pimp.
Hey, just remember, I slept a bit in a week.
Yo. Yo, I ain't never been a hoe in the streets, but I swear, the chill that I just got up my spine had to be the same shit. I mean, I feel for all the women out here working the corner. I'm gonna go get my heels on, man. Shit.
So that's kind of where it started. But you feel different at the times that you do put on a suit. You feel a little different. You walk a little different. You talk a little different. You feel different, and that's the way my heroes are the Rat Pack, because they went out. They didn't care about what anybody else said. They always dressed to the nines. They came out. They had a good time. They didn't bother anybody, but they were having a good time and feeling good while they were doing it.
You're a Sinatra guy.
If anybody stepped out of line, just cuff up the sleeves, roll them up a little bit, slap them around, get them back into place, and back to doing your thing.
That's it.
A smart man can get around it 99% of the time. If you don't feed the negativity that comes, because that's what they want. They want to drag you down. Right. So if you don't say something back to them, then it kind of dies. It's like a fire with no air. It's just every time you say something or try to be negative back to them, that's just throwing gasoline on that thing.
Well, more fuel for the fire.
Somebody tell me, do the clothes make the man?
No. The clothes don't make the man. The way I express this to people, because they'll come up to me and say, well, how much did you pay for that suit? I said, let me tell you something. Let me tell you a little secret here. It's not how much you paid for the suit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's how you wear it.
Right. That's
so
damn right.
You could get a $69, you could get a $5,000 Armani suit and you could walk in.
Yeah, right.
Kind of like this and say, wow,
and it look cheap.
Or you could buy a $69.95 Kmart special and walk in like this. All of a sudden, you made that suit.
Right. You turned it on. You activated it.
Exactly. You brought the attitude to it. So you can't just buy the suit and figure that's what's going to happen, because it's not going to happen.
How many suits do you have?
I have somewhere between 50 and 100.
What could you be doing where we don't see you in the suit? Is there anything? Could you be like shopping one day and I don't see you in the suit? You got jeans and a t-shirt?
Oh yeah, I'll be going through Marks.
Is that where we find you? Well, I bump into you and I don't recognize you because you're not in the full pimp.
Well, I thought that would be the case, but it isn't.
They find you.
But what they say, 9 times out of 10, I'll be in Marks, and I'm just dragging myself out of bed from 2 straight days of indulging in adult beverages and acting the fool, and I'm dragging in there with the last piece of clean clothes or semi-clean clothing I turned inside out so I can wear it, and somebody say, "Where's your suit?" And I say, I'm thinking to myself, you think I wear a suit to go to Mark's on a Saturday morning?
You can't say that. That'll fuck everything up. That'll shatter the mirrors and the smoke.
I would say, well, it's only a rumor that I sleep in my suit 7 days a week. I cut back to 5 days.
See, you got to reel it in. You always do that. I love that. All right, we got to talk about the city. We got to talk about Cleveland. Mm-hmm. You were recently in a campaign from I'm From Cleveland. We're big I'm From Cleveland supporters. Big Ilthy guys. We love
Shout out Glenn.
Shout out Glenn. Shout out to John and Evie, Wavy Duder, Bobby Boucher.
Good people.
While we are naming people. You recently did a campaign for them, though?
Yes.
And you got to talk. They had a little snippet. You told us a little bit about how that came about. Mm-hmm. Where in the snippet for the merch campaign from I'm From Cleveland, you said your favorite thing is where you see people that come to Cleveland and they're like, this is Cleveland. I didn't think it's gonna be nothing. And then they get surprised that Cleveland is actually kind of, and you're like, no, I love it when they're like, no, this is Cleveland.
That's right.
You got all that pride. Where does that come from? Tell us about that.
Well, it's how I feel about Cleveland. And some people don't like the fact, they think that, well, if you don't live in Cleveland proper, that you're not a Clevelander, so to speak. But you are, because there's not a whole lot of difference. You get into some of the hoity-toity neighborhoods and stuff. It might be a little bit different, but I'm from Lorain. Lorain is diverse. It's just a smaller Cleveland is all it is. And I spent a lot of my childhood, in Cleveland and of course with there's a super pimp thing, all the people I've met and all the experiences I've had. And I've lived all over the country and I've lived all over the world. And people would always say to me, well, with what you got going and who you are, you don't belong here. You belong in Las Vegas or you belong in LA or someplace like that. I said, I lived in all those places. And in LA, if you were to pass out and die on the sidewalk, people get pissed that they had to walk around you. But in Cleveland and the areas around Cleveland have that feel to them. They have that grit of good down home people who care about you. Your car gets stuck in the snow someplace. There's people going to get out. And they're going to help you push the car. There's people care about one another. I mean, there's exceptions anywhere you go, but the core of this city is in its people. And that's why I love Cleveland. That's why I enjoy repping Cleveland as much as I can, because I truly do love the city.
Because one thing I was delighted that we talked about even over the phone is, as you expressed, you've lived all over the country, lived all over the world, yet you find yourself back to your own roots. And Cleveland really can be a hub for culture. It's one of the most diverse places. Like, Cleveland doesn't necessarily have the look of the LA surfer. It doesn't have the look of the Miami, Dade County money. It doesn't have the look of a New Yorker. But Cleveland itself stands out because we're just the hub of all of it coming together. What would you describe the culture of Cleveland to be from your experience?
Well, the culture comes from its diversity. The foods are a good thing about it. I mean, there's places you can't go to, that you can go to, I should say, that cuisine, so to speak, is pretty limited. But you might think of the most fanciest restaurants, in different places like LA or New York or whatever. But there is a selection of food here that comes from the culture you can't get any place else. So that sharing those foods, because you go to your friend will come up, well, what do you want to eat today? Well, I know this new Puerto Rican restaurant over there. It's really, really good food. So you go there, and lots of times it's Puerto Rican people that own it, that are nice people, and you get to meet them. And there's that crossing of the cultures. And what you said about the artistic value is comes from that diversity, that creativity. You mentioned EV. EV is don't let this go to your head, man. I still don't like it. I appreciate you. He knows what I'm saying. But back when I first came back here, he was working in a little place off of I think it was called Cadillac Ranch or something, right off of the square there. He was DJing there, and he was relatively unknown at the time. And and I'd go in there to see him, and he introduced himself, and so we got to be pretty good friends, in a club type of friends. I mean, we didn't hang out, didn't go to church together or anything, but, just kind of, when we were out, we talk and catch up on things. And then, he's huge now. He does those big 40, 50,000 people concerts in Vegas. But he never forgot his roots.
Yeah,
he never forgot his roots.
And he still comes back time and time again to Cleveland, which I think is something very beautiful that really needs to get across to more people out there, that as much as you want to get exposed, and LA and New York and Miami are great cities to do that, but they're short-term endeavors. Right. You don't stay there a while. You take a little piece of this, you take a little piece of that, and you come back to where it all started, to where it started to really blossom. And I think Cleveland's beautiful in that essence of it. It just stinks that I feel a lot of people are caught up in, I have to get out of Cleveland. What do you say to a person that would say that to you?
I'd say, well, for the same reason that I've always migrated back here, is this is your soil. This is your people. This is who you relate to. And you can't make it on your own. If you go to a place like LA or New York, everybody's fighting for the same little spot. Right. And they're not really, not 100% of the cases, but a majority of the cases, people are just interested in bringing themselves forward. But in Cleveland, I have found through all the things that being Super Pimp has enabled me to do that I would never experience before. A lot of that has to do with people helping me along and saying, hey, here's an opportunity over here. Cause, I get paid for going to parties and doing, bar mitzvahs.
Just making appearances.
Just making an appearance. I just show up. They said, well, what do you do? People like, what do you? I said, I just come in and eat their food, chase the women, and then I get paid and I go home. I bring some smiles and I make them feel that they got their money's worth, that they got a time that they wouldn't have had if I wouldn't have showed up. Yeah. But the thing is that I've had a lot of people help me, and I in turn have helped a lot of other people. And I think that's what happens here that doesn't happen in other places. People are willing to bring somebody along with them in their own climb for whatever their goals are, what they want to achieve.
Well, I know you said you're actually a man of karma. You putting out that energy, it's bound to come back to you. So do you think that's kind of the reason you live such a happy lifestyle? It's because you know it's going to spread to other people. It'll continue to spread, and it's only bound to come back to you.
It's right. It's like I was talking with you earlier that when people ask me, well, how is it that when I met you 20 years ago, you had that same smile on your face? I said, well, how do you do it all the time? And I said, well, it's not because my life is perfect, because it's not. And there's some nights I don't feel like going out. There's sometimes when I have scheduled appearances that I don't feel it. As I related to you, I feel it's like I'm a dry sponge that's like this. And then the first time when I get there and that first person has a smile, that first person says something or relates a story to me, well, I met you this and this is what happened and this is how I felt and everything. All of a sudden, It's like it's just water to this sponge and it just expands. And then all of a sudden, I'm back.
I feel that. I can relate to that just even doing the podcast, You experience it. Any guest that we've had on kind of knows how we do it. It's kind of the same every time. We come down, we go get you guys at the door, bring you upstairs. Harry talks your ear off. Harry talks to you.
I love that.
While I'm getting the show together, while I'm setting everything up, Harry's talking to you guys, make you feel comfortable, make you feel at home. You barely even get to know what my voice sounds like until we sit down to do a sound check or we get into the show. And then all of a sudden I hear some stuff from you talking to Harry while I'm setting up. I get to hear you doing the sound check and I'm like, this is going to be fun actually. And I kind of open up so I can relate to that.
Well, it was the same with you because I had the pleasure and opportunity to talk with Harry on the phone for a while. And I got to know him a little bit and we got to know each other a little bit. But, when I first walked in here, you were quiet, kind of going about your business and everything. And I didn't really know that you were even part of this. I knew, Harry would say, my partner is Cube, but that doesn't necessarily mean an on-air partner.
Right.
So then
I sit in the middle.
So then when you sat down in that chair, it was like a transformation.
Yeah, and I like
Lights,
it that
camera,
way.
action.
I like it that way because that's what it's about. I'm not here to fake or nothing,
No,
but I also am at this point in my life, I'm very protective of my peace and my energy and stuff like that, And even though I have very high hopes.
What are you saving for?
I don't know, nothing, nothing,
Well, what you gonna do?
Shit.
Jim, you're talking about Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor, when he was doing the coke real bad, he's going, and Jim Brown was his good friend, the running back for the Browns. And Richard Pryor, I got to do this, I can't do this. And Jim Brown would just look at him, with that. I don't know if you've ever met him, but he's got this presence to him. He's a big guy, and I mean, he was my superhero, Jim Brown. And Jim Brown is just standing there, and he got that look on his face, and he go, "What you gonna do? What you gonna do?" Like,
right.
You're gonna sit here and that's all he would say. And it's more or less saying, all I can do is point it out to you. It's up to you to figure out what you're gonna do.
For sure,
absolutely. Damn, I can't imagine Jim Brown asking me a question. What you gonna do?
Imagine Super Pimp asking you because he just did it to me, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't fucking know, man.
Well, Super Pimp could ask me any question he wants, but I feel there's a lot of people out there that had a ton of questions for you that we couldn't even really all get to.
We had a bunch of questions.
So, without further ado, we have our next segment: questions from the audience. Let's go right to the first one. Question number 1 here.
So these are questions from the fans.
Okay, awesome.
We had to do that little video that we posted.
Yes.
Asking everybody to send in some questions. We got a lot. They're very interested in asking.
Thank you as always, Wee-Wees, for reaching out. But some of those questions are not PG, cannot even be said in a podcast.
Once you guys watch this, I think you'll have a better understanding of.
Like, we get the best questions that are deep. We get personal ones, and you get the people that just get right into the sexual stuff. And they don't hesitate. Nobody bites their tongue.
They get the They're going off of the super pimp, not knowing.
We could PG that up, can't we, a little bit? I mean,
we
don't have to be the
this ain't a PG podcast. I mean, this is rated X for sure. So we could get into whatever.
I'll leave it to your discretion.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so he just forced us to go there. All right, let's jump into it, though.
Question 1. How does it feel to have made such a long-lasting impression on the Cleveland scene, and how have you seen it change over the years?
That's a very good question. I keep thinking that my 15 minutes is up.
Yeah, you said that.
And say it to me. Give me the question one more time.
How does it feel to have made such a long-lasting impression on the Cleveland scene, and how have you seen it change over the years?
But I feel very blessed by it, because what this gives me, I'm not getting rich off of this, and I never wanted to get rich off of this. People say, I'm probably one of the most photographed people in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And people would always say to me, man, if you just charged every time you took, I said, I'll never do that. I'll never charge anybody for a picture. I feel blessed by the fact that I have the power. What I get out of this whole thing is that power to make people happy, to bring that smile. That like I said, if they're that week, the dog might have bit them, their girlfriend cheating on them, the boss disrespected them, but they know that if they see me out, I'm going to make them feel a little bit better, and they will feel a little bit better. And when they walk away feeling a little bit better,
you did a good job, super pimping.
That's what it. Now, how's it changed?
Yeah.
It's gotten a little rougher. I think the core is still there, but I think that Cleveland has let what the core of this nation has let creep in. A divisiveness that is killing this country. And having served in the military, and it particularly bothers me how things are going. And it's not because of the people. It's because of the leadership. Leadership has been lacking in Cleveland for quite a while. The biggest thing, the example that I can give is, I never agreed with them putting out all those taxpayer money to the bigwigs, to the stadium owners. Why would we pay as people who better use that money for their family? Why are we doing that to make somebody richer? Why they want an upgrade on their sick? Let them do it,
right? Because
there was all those promises of downtown. Well, if we maintain this in the stadium and all this, it'll bring it. And then all those businesses grew up around it. All of them died.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. That money could have been best spent in the poorer sections, the people that need it in this country, in the city, and giving them a job, creating a business for them so they can get a piece of respect, self-respect. You're wandering around, you don't have a job, you don't have, you see your kids not having the clothes you wanted to have, and just basic necessities. So that there's a bit of divisiveness that's crept in, but not as bad as other places. We still maintain our core, but I would like to see it turned around too.
Love to hear it. That felt like actually was coming from the heart too, which was very nice to hear.
For sure.
Cleveland needs that.
Cleveland needs Pimp. Super Pimp for mayor, 2024. You gonna run?
I've been offered the financial backing to do that.
Would you consider that?
I would love to have the power to turn the city around.
But is there a but?
Well, I don't have as many excuses as I had at one time, because I was a single dad, and that was my first responsibility. And if I would have got into something like that's full time, and it would take away from. My sister has grandkids that I love, and we're watching our family grow in the little people and stuff. And I just find a great pleasure in doing that. And I would lose touch with their their uncle if I was to do that.
Behind all
it's
that,
it's still not off the.
It's not off the
behind all that, Pimpin's a Family Guy.
For sure. I gotta say though, I'm sure you would fuck around and win an election. I'm absolutely positive of it. I have no doubt about it.
What do you guys think?
I would vote.
Super Pimp 2024?
I feel it.
He's a Family Guy. Remember, we're not going to force him into abandoning the family for politics.
What you gonna do?
But hey, the city needs you. The pimp emblem is in the sky. It's just like a pinky ring. All right.
That's awesome.
Question number 2 from the audience.
Yes.
What was life like in the Army?
I'm not sure I understand.
What was life like in the Army?
In the Army?
In the Army.
Oh, it was. I was in for 5.5 years. I came out. I was a captain for 2.5 years before I got out. But then when the Vietnam War ended, they didn't need the officers anymore, and they gave me a lump sum of money, and I wanted to make it a career. That's how much I love serving my country. I love the structure of the Army is that there was a fairness there in the Army. If you're in the business world, your boss can turn around and just kill your what you work for just like that. In the Army, it's fair. There's rules, and everybody has to follow those rules, and nobody has the power to take their own personal vendetta or jealousies or whatever out. So I love the fairness of the military. And it gave me, and I often think that if I ruled the world, that every 18-year-old man, if they weren't the head of the household, meaning that they were the sole providers for their family, that they would be required to put in 2 years in the military. Because there's a lot of lost young men out there who have no structure, don't know how to relate to each other. They don't know how to have self-respect. But being in there and being a part of a group and having a hardcore drill sergeant look you right in the eye and say, "You think you're tough?" and shake them up and dust them off and bring them out as a man. And I would like to see that happen. For my own thing, I would never not do that. If I had the chance of going over and doing it, I would do it again in a second. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience.
All men are created equal. Some work harder than others.
Exactly.
That's what I love about the Army.
Wow. I kind of, see, like at first, I'm so liberal, at least I consider myself to be or whatever. So I'm like, oh, the Army. No, I wouldn't want everybody to get drafted. But then it's like, if everybody got drafted, damn, that would do something as far as like, yeah, there is a lot of lost people out here. I'm lost at one point, and like the camaraderie that could be gained from that. Yeah, that's actually kind of interesting. Because I don't hate it.
Because if you didn't have a father, that taught you how to engage with other men, how to interact with other men, how to resolve differences, then that's why you run wild. Yeah, the first, for lack of a better word, the first thug that comes along that offers you for you to belong, like you belong someplace, you're going to pick up on it. But which is a bad influence. But if that person or persons happen to be the Army and the people you're with, it'll teach you everything you need to know.
Interesting. This is actually my buddy Chris was telling me who just got done with his 4 years. Shout out him, getting his DD 214. That actually recruiting's at the lowest it's ever been. They're struggling. And one thing I think that's great that you brought up is no matter what division or branch you join, Army, Navy, Air Force, it's going to better your life. It's going to change the way you think, and it's a turning point. So I think it's really important for people that maybe don't grow up with that structure. It's a good base. It's a great base. Plus, it has fantastic benefits.
Right, and that would be part of my platform if I were to become mayor. People might think this is radical, but one of my main things that I would do is that I would call out the National Guard. There would be two National Guardsmen on every block throughout East Cleveland and every bad neighborhood where good people don't have to have their 3 and 4 year olds shot in the head.
Cleveland, it has its dangerous cities. You don't hear about the shootings until somebody dies, but there's a lot of gun violence that goes on. A lot of it.
Right. So good people hardworking people should be able to go out in their own yard without the fear of bodily harm or their children being harmed. So you go in and you take it over. And you clear up the riffraff off of the street and you give them a choice. You drag them in front of the court and you say, here's the deal. You can either go to prison, I'm going to send you there for the maximum I can send you, or we're going to put you in a military boot camp. And in that boot camp, you're going to learn how to be a man. And if you don't want to learn how to be a man, you're going to learn how to be somebody's bitch. And so now you make a decision here which way you want to go. And it's shown that the recidivism rate that happens for people coming out of prison is terrible.
Yeah, right. They go right back.
They go right back in. But it's proven fact that coming out of a military boot camp, that their chances of going back to the other life is slim to none.
Awesome. I'd love to hear that. That's awesome.
Question. You are mayor already. You're unofficial mayor.
I can vote twice.
Gosh, what a campaign, Ron. We important.
Question 3: when you retire, who will be your replacement?
They're saying retire as Super Pimp. Yeah. If you retire as Super Pimp, will there be a replacement Super Pimp?
I joke when
she fucking.
No.
Why are you looking?
No. Now this is twice.
She's a diamond in the rough.
First came the suit, and now comes this. I'm feeling a little nudge on my corner.
This is like, hey, Batman got robbed. You know what I don't know, man.
I joke when people come up and say, I want to take your place when you decide not to be that anymore, and I said, well, I'll joke around and say, well, I'm taking auditions, but it's not. I said, it comes along with the question, how do I be you? I said, you don't be me. You take my basic structure and you add what's good in you and what the good people in your life taught you and merge those things together, and you'll be a prime candidate for who you want to be if you want to, so to speak, take my place.
There's openings.
I figure I got another 50, 60 years.
I'm about to say.
You're rocking.
You're only 25.
Or 50 or 60 minutes, whichever comes first.
Whatever. Hey, but
keep the train rolling.
I'm sure you'll make it worth every second.
Yes,
every second.
I do. Awesome.
What we got next?
Got one more, and then we're on to our general.
What is your favorite bar in Cleveland, past and present, and why?
Okay, it really depends on the time of the year. I like in the wintertime, it would be West 6 used to be my place. And there's been a lot of places that have come and gone on West 6th Street. Barley House has been one that has stuck around, and where others have failed, along with the Velvet Dog, but and I don't want to say anything against
good Cleveland business,
any club, but
that's a good mayor.
But the Barley House has been very good to me, and I think they're in their 14th year now. And a normal lifespan for a bar is about 5 years.
Yeah, they're doing great
before I flip. So they're doing very well. They have very good leadership, and I did a lot of. They gave me an opportunity to do well. It was a mutual opportunity. I did a lot of promotions for them, and
that's where I saw you. I ran into your Barley,
and there was. So I want to finish answer the question and a quick story about the Barley House. But so in the wintertime, I was liking West 6th Street, and in the summertime, I like the flats. And I like the new flats very much, because the thing is they have a lot of nice patio clubs down there. And as we all know, winter lasts about 18 months in Cleveland and summer's like 2 weeks. So you don't want to be cooped up inside of someplace. So that usually determines my summertime favorite clubs.
Where you can go outside.
I go John Boy's, Dante's, Forward, and West 6 I don't go too much anymore. It's kind of losing control down there. The bad element has taken over, unfortunately, down there, and there's a lot of fights and things like that. And like I said, I give Barley House credit. They've been able to overcome that. So to answer the question, it depends on my mood. Is where if I want a real vibing club, the old Barflies on West 6th Street. If you had to have a tag on your toe, if when you walked in that door, you didn't start to move. Now, I don't care what kind of mood you were in or what was going on. As soon as you got to that door and you felt that vibe hit you, that maybe. Did it? And you're nodding, and everybody's a star right there when you walk in.
Barfly.
But there's been quite a few good clubs. So I always recommend Barley House in the wintertime and down in the flats in the summertime.
Awesome.
We love that.
Last, we got a general question. We actually have our guest read it for us.
Last, general questions for all three of us. So we're going to have you read that one.
Now, I don't need these, but it makes me look smarter.
I don't know. I just want to see you put them on, honestly.
I hope I brought them in. Oop, there it is.
Killing me.
Don't kill me, dog.
Oh, my God. That's so darn good.
What is the importance of love?
Say it again for everybody to hear.
What is the importance of love?
Hey, what is the importance of love?
Dude, I went first last time.
You always go first. It's the thing I do.
Well, my parents' marriage sucked, so love? I can't really speak.
I hope it builds from here.
I can't really speak on it.
But so flat.
What I imagine love is an ever-changing thing that requires nurture. It requires nature. It requires just an everlasting effort towards it itself, love. I don't think love is necessarily a specific feeling. Love's different. You have love for a friend. You have love for a family member. You have love for a dog. I have love for this podcast. I think love is an expression we use to give something meaning to ourselves.
That's good, because I was going to steer you back a little bit on the question, because the question says, what is the importance of love? Why is that important?
As far as importance, I just think love's a natural emotion that makes us human, where it's yin and yang, it's love and hate, I hate something so much, I almost love to hate it. I think love is important because, I'm really bad at this.
You answered it, if I may help you.
No, please, by all means.
When you said that love gives importance to your life.
Okay.
Yes, it gives meaning. It gives meaning to your life, because what's the meaning of life? Going to work, chasing men or women, or both.
Not be chasing no men.
Or both, whatever your preference is, and but yeah, when you said that the importance is to give your life meaning.
Whenever I think of the word love too, I always see the word happy in my mind. And I feel that's wrong, because I don't think love's always a feeling of happiness. Love can drive you to do something insane. Love can drive you to pick up a car. Love can drive you to kill someone. It's an interesting emotion.
Yeah, it really is.
Theotis, what about you?
What is the importance of love? I agree. I agree with Pimp, man. The importance of love is that love is the only important thing. I feel like it's the only motivating thing in our lives. If you take everything away, Like, there's people out there with nothing to their name, no money, no house, no nothing. And if they have somebody to love, they'll do anything. You know what I mean? Like, you can withstand the cold, you can withstand the elements.
Love makes you forget about all your hardship because you love something so much. I won't say it blinds you of the negatives, but it overtakes the negatives and shows you the positives of that small moment.
It's the motivating factor. It's the thing that gets you out of bed. It's the thing that keeps you going. If you love something, if you love someone, if you love your life.
Everyone deserves to be loved.
You know, that perpetuates. And that's it. I don't know. That's all I got.
What about you?
I think that love is what bonds us together as human beings. If you see it in the most primitive and purest form, when a little baby hugs, where does that come from? You know, it wasn't taught that. It's something that's innate in all of us that bonds us together as being human beings. And animals have it as well. It bonds their species. So I want to just confine it to human beings. It comes in nature as well. But I think that it's God's way of bringing us all together and guiding us through what's right and wrong and what's best for us in our life.
I love that.
Lead with love.
I love that.
And that's all you can do is just lead with love.
Because you know, it's not. We're all different in most everything else. The way we dress, the way we act, the way we talk. It's all different, and we'd be just running around all willy nilly, doing our own thing. But the thing that binds us is that we all love, and some of us have not been so fortunate in that area, but we have the capacity to love, and eventually there's something that comes along in whatever way, shape, or form it is that brings you love and makes you human.
Wow.
It's a passionate thing for sure.
We hit all the bases, I feel like. We tugged on the heartstrings. We got some pimping done. Like, wow, we just, you know?
Yes. This is
fully encompassed. I feel like there's one more question I gotta ask. Mm-hmm. Maybe more, but that comes to mind right now. Anybody that scrolls through your Instagram, they see the pictures. You're posing with a lot of different ladies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In a lot of these captions, your quote is saying that Cleveland has some of the prettiest women you've ever seen.
Yes.
Do you stand by that?
Yes, I do. And there's a lot of people who will fight me on that. They'll say, oh, you know, you go out to L.A. and there's all these beautiful. Yeah. Well, what's your definition of a beautiful woman? I'm telling you what, I've seen some really good, knockdown, gorgeous women that I wouldn't spend 30 seconds with. Not 30 seconds. Because they're bringing nothing but negativity into my life. But in a strictly physical sense is that it's that melting pot, and it gets better all the time. Because you have Puerto Rican women, bonding with black men and white, all the races are mixing and giving the best qualities and features of each other's race and to these really pretty women. And, you know, if you got, he
said the mixed chicks is killing it, is what he said. Mixed shorties over here looking good. What is you mixed with? I love that flavor. What's this flavor? I love that one.
That's right. They're taking the best.
That's beautiful.
Taking the best of every, and as that evolves, and those pretty women hook up with pretty men, so to speak, then now we got another generation that's a little bit better. Because I remember in high school, I went to Admiral King High School, and there was 2,200 students, which was big for that time. For a city of 75,000, to have a school of 2,200 and 9 through 12 was kind of exceptional. And out of that group, there might have been 100 really attractive girls. You go downtown Cleveland.
It's every corner.
You go down to clubs. It goes, holy. You look across the room.
Sheesh.
You look across the room, and you see pretty women.
Oh, I see.
Or across town, or in the clubs, or whatever. I go, wow, where did all this come from? I said, I hope if Buddhism is correct, I hope I don't come back as a flea. I hope I come back as let's say George Clooney or Brad Pitt or somebody, get another shot at this deal.
Oh my God!
I'll bring a new meaning to love. I'll put it from just love to super love.
Shit, okay.
Stamp on that one.
All right, shit.
That's awesome.
I love that.
But there's an old song that says, and the lyrics go, if you want to be pretty, if you want to be happy for the rest of your life, don't you make a pretty woman your wife. From my personal point of view, get an ugly girl to marry you. Your girlfriend's ugly, but she sure can cook.
Goddamn.
Because you have a good looking woman, and every snake's coming out of the grass.
Oh man,
slithering around. Telling you. I forget if it was the OJs or the Spinners, one of those two, came out with a song called The Backstabbers.
It's the OJs.
It was the OJs.
Yeah.
They come out and think, but we don't have the man code that when I was growing up. Even if you didn't believe in the man code, there'd be about 5 guys that meet you around the corner that would bring you back to why you should adhere to that code.
Unwritten rules.
Yeah.
That's funny as hell.
Damn, that was awesome. Thank you guys also, wee-wees, for the awesome questions. So we can get to them all.
But y'all know, y'all was acting up in the damn questions when asking all that crazy shit.
Oh my God. Well, kind of just want to wrap things up here. Can you tell the people what's coming up with Super Pimp, how they can get in contact with you? What's a good way to get in touch?
What you got going on? Tell us about your 2024 running for mayor campaign.
Well, that's still up in the air. My Instagram is at real, REAL, Super Pimp.
Not fake.
That's right. Not to be mistaken with just the regular pimp or a fake pimp. It's at real Super Pimp.
Real Super Pimp.
And my Facebook is Mike Toth. And my website has been down for a while because of my agent.
Are you bringing
promised me that he will bring it back. It's kind of sitting in limbo.
So what can we see once the website comes back? What can we see on there?
It's I started writing a book on there about my life and based on how I think that certain things that experiences in my life might help somebody else or something they might be able to relate to. I got about 3 or 4 chapters done on there and it tells the suit story and I have a question and answer thing on there if you have something's bothering you or you need to talk to somebody or whatever that's on there. And
you got an advice column?
Yeah, it's on the website.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. And look for I'll announce that when it comes back up. But it's superpimp.com.
Y'all hear it here first.
And we'll make sure to repost that once you get it back.
Well, I appreciate that.
Of course. Anything coming up in the next weeks people can pop out to go see you at as well?
Well, I went to it's already passed, but I was at my sister's oldest grandchild's first Holy Communion.
Okay, that ain't really a turn up function, but
well, it turned out to be in a way because it was in North Royalton, and I'm not a religious person. I'm a spiritual person, but I'm not a religious person. but so I don't attend church. I was brought up Catholic and everything, but it was really very nice going to that ceremony, and I had a lot of strangers come up to me in church and say,
wow.
I appreciate older people, because my fan base is 18 to 29 is my biggest fan, my age group.
Yeah, right.
It's the bourbon that did all this stuff.
Made you handsome?
You got an iron? So my point is that I had some older people, like 40s, 50s, come up. So you don't know who I am, but I really appreciate the way you rep Cleveland, and you represent yourself, represent Cleveland. I don't mind my kids going on and seeing your sites and everything. So that it was kind of an event. It turned out to be, and I mean, it's great anyway, because we're talking about what's important and what makes you happy. Those are the real things in life. To see those little souls go up there when I used to be pure. One time I was walking around like
when I used to be pure.
That's been a day or two ago.
Okay.
But coming up, I have a couple of gigs coming up. I do, like I said, I get hired to show up at parties, and I do fundraisers. And been in a couple of movies, and one of the fun things that I really like doing is I do cameos for rap videos. So I'll just be like the Little John of Cleveland rap videos. You know how Little John comes in and he just does that little shtick on. Mm-hmm. I go in and do my little. I wear the suit and I do the pimp dance, and but it's fun because it's the whole production and getting to meet the people on that crew and everything, and
getting to do your thing.
Love that. We might be giving you a call about that.
And any people that would want to hire you, how can they get connected to actually reach out?
They can DM me through
Instagram,
or my website, and I get back to everybody. I don't, and if I say I'm going to do something, OG old school says you make a commitment, you do it.
Absolutely.
Right.
You guys know, as always, make sure you hit that subscribe button below if you're watching this on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Make sure you hit that follow button as well to get the most important content coming at you.
We also forgot to ask if you had any questions for us.
How long has this been going?
This is our third
season.
Third season. We come back.
How many episodes in the season?
This is currently episode 13. I want to say season 2 was about 8 or 9, and season 1 was 24.
Yeah.
The goal is consistency, as we were talking before. It's never a viewership amount. It's never an amount of people to follow. It's just until we're not having fun anymore.
Not necessarily. It's also a life thing. We got things coming up in life that we got to do outside, off camera, off mic.
Hiatus might be necessary so we can bring better quality for season 4.
Exactly. So we're always looking up.
You get better as you go along, and and you guys, I'm telling you, I follow William Shatner. You know who William Shatner is?
Absolutely.
He wrote. I read his book, and this might be something for you guys too.
Okay.
The biggest thing that I got out of his book is when he said, because he's been in show business 80 years. 80 years. I mean, that's practically unknown in the entertainment, especially at his level. But his key is that he never said no. You think about that for a second. He never said no. If somebody asked him to do something that wasn't, illegal but it's something to do with show business, he would always do it, and that always led him to the next one. He may not have seen it,
right? Because
he went through that slump period, and he was doing. We're talking about Captain Kirk and the movies, and the good-looking guy, and the roles would come, and then there was a period where that all kind of fell through, and he was doing. Somebody came up and asked him to do a voice record, a voice album. So where he talked songs, he didn't sing the song, he talked them.
And he did that.
He did that.
That's so
and
weird.
that led him to his next big gig, which I think was Boston Legal. Was that that program, or either that, or was maybe even a little sooner when he was in that cop show with I forget what the name of that was, but it led him to a major resurgence in his career. So when you guys are doing this, you never know
what's going to be next,
what's going to come along, who's going to come along and say, "Hey guys, follow me. Let me show you what the next step is." You guys got any idea what the next step is, or how you're looking to expand, or are you looking to expand?
We just stick to consistency. And whatever comes next happens. We just know put in the hard work, and everything else will unfold naturally. Don't force anything, though.
I'm always looking to do something. I always got a trick up my sleeve, Pimpin', man.
Because I've talked to a couple other people that had podcasts, and they said that, there's like a CBS network or something it's like the minor leagues of
like
radio.
Public access.
If you get picked up by them, then they spread you.
We've thought about that, and it kind of brings us back to the Dave Chappelle stuff. You have to sell yourself out to the way the radio, those little companies want you to portray yourself. And for us, the moment we can't be Q and Harry anymore,
it's not us.
Yeah.
It's not for us.
Well,
but you never know.
Let me offer you a little something on that as well. And I understand what you're saying, and I have my boundaries on that as well. Right. But the thing is that if you, I will eat a mile of crap to get to the point where I don't have to do that anymore. Okay. I call the shots, right. and sometimes that's what it takes to get there. And then when you get there, then you can make all the changes, all the independence.
But you gotta get there.
You got to get there, and it's tough. Yeah. But I want to tell you that this has been a great experience for me.
Good, man.
And
it started fun.
It started with Harry's phone call, and I took an immediate liking to you, and then when I came here and I met you, and besides trying to take my corner, it's been such a pleasure meeting you as well, and you're creative people, and you got the right idea, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate that. That was awesome.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you.
Well, with our last segment, the most important words to live by, can you just kind of give the people your fortune cookie, or what you would say to your younger self now on how to live life the way you do?
Yeah, just look at you. Imagine young Mike out there who's about to embark on the same journey that you have this whole time. What is just that little thing that he needs to hear? That little small fortune cookie sentence,
I think that to put it, there's many things that I could say, but there's a general thing that I think that most people can relate to. And it was funny because we were talking about Cat Williams before, and he did a little snippet on my feed the other day about growing old. He says that you I wish I could talk like him. I have a friend.
I wish you could too, honestly.
I got a friend who does him, and he's a white guy who does his voice and his mannerisms
his voice,
right to the T and everything. But he said, whatever and I want to clean it up. But he said, that whatever your ambitions are, whatever your dreams are, understand that life is really short. Because when I was younger, and when you guys were younger, I'm sure, and maybe even now, and I was guilty of it myself, is that you think there's all the time in the world when you're in your teens and your 20s, and so crap, I got time doesn't really register with you, and how fast it's going by. But I would say to my younger self, you needed to not waste as much of this precious life as you did. There's some things you have to waste your life on to learn, but being lazy isn't one of them.
Beautifully said. Love that.
Get up and do something.
Get up and do something and fulfill your dreams now. Because Cat says, once that old grabs a hold of you, don't ever let go. It don't ever change. It's there. It's going to bug you. It's going to stay with you until the day you die. So if you got you out there, if you got a dream, you got something you're thinking about, go out and do it.
Go out and do it.
A little step, just a little something towards that day. You might think it's insignificant, but unless you got a crystal ball, you don't know what everything is going to lead to. So put in that little bit of work. These guys are putting in the work for what they want to do. You put in the work for what you want to do, and just stick with it, and it'll come to you.
That's it. I want to go with that real quick before we close out. For you guys out there, there's only two things in this true life you can absolutely control, and that's your attitude and your effort. Everything else, you got to let it be. But I promise, if you show up with a positive attitude and give it 110% effort, because you should, if it's something you care about, it'll work its way out.
Like we said, if it ain't pimping, it ain't popping. If 2 is available, 1 is not an option. This has been a We Important Podcast with Super Pimp. It's been a pleasure.
No, wait a minute. Could that be classified as number 3? Trying to help pimp my philosophy.
Hey, man. Is that strike 3? I'm about to get a slap. We're going to post a picture of his ring marks on my face. All right, Mike. Last thing, just close us out with first word that comes to your mind.
Fun.